The current state of education is no longer appropriate, yet there has not been any real reform in the past decades. Well, there might have been one, the Moocs, which seemed to me the best thing that happened to education ever since the invention of the printing press. The usual suspects in the education problems are accessibility, high costs, limited opportunity for employment unless you come from a top institution, and that it doesn't reflect current abilities and needs, for example those of the digital natives. As you can see, I'm an education enthusiast. I have high hopes for development of global education that would improve the lives of us all. I have passed through many Moocs, from social psychology, model thinking, to Scandinavian TV and film. As such, it is no surprise that I see Moocs as a possible solution to the problems education is facing. The other alternatives include higher state investment to education, meaning stipends and higher teacher salaries, and the privatization of the educational domain. The wave of Moocs, massive open online courses, started back in 2012 with initial 43 courses provided by 4 institutions. Now we have 550 courses, where sometimes even 250,000 of students enroll. Moocs definitely increase accessibility. On edX, one of the online educational platforms, we have people enroll from 190 countries. That's an outreach that any university can only dream of. Yet, that's hardly the only advantage. What Moocs actually offer is a personalized learning experience. You choose your own course, you choose the content you are interested in, and you follow your own time preferences in completing the assignments. The reason for mentioning assignments is that this is a real course experience. There is regular start, homeworks, or peer-graded assessments. It is not just an online content of a normal course. It is tailored to fit the Mooc format, and you get a certificate if you complete the course. Moocs provide different angles to learning than the usual school environment. For example, some of the content is interactive, which is rather great because you get to immediately see your results. You can also learn by grading peer assignment, which proves to be a rather efficient technique as there is high correlation between student grades and teachers' grades. Another way of learning is by teaching the others, whether in the online forums or in actual study groups, as you can see on the map on this slide. The global community provided by Mooc assures faster response rate that you would get at any Ivy League school or Oxbridge that you could ever attend. I guess that by now you've pretty much realized that Moocs are the ideal tool for lifelong learners, something that our society should definitely support, and something that's rather a necessity in the globalized and rapidly changing world. Despite all this, there is a lot of criticism raised because it's been shown that 40% of students come from very developed countries such as USA, and also over 80% of people enrolled have a degree of some sort, like MA or BA. Furthermore, people tend to point out the unusually high dropout rate, which is somewhere between 93 and 95%. Yet, is that really a measure that is appropriate for Moocs, or is it just something that we are used to see at high school and universities? Yet another criticism is concerned with our non-cognitive abilities that we gain usually when socializing at educational facilities, and which we obviously cannot fully develop if we only concentrate on online education. So if you stand on the critical side of the Moocs, you may not see what all this hype is about. Well, the thing is that public actually started to talk about education, and that's something we haven't seen in the past decades, or maybe even centuries. Although it's too early to judge the Moocs because they've been with us for the past 2 years only, we already can see there is something positive coming out of them. Big data. I mean, data on how we are learning, and that's quite a massive novelty in the world. So yes, after all, Moocs are probably not the tool which will save our education forever, but to be fair, nobody ever claimed they will be. They are a tool which can help us mitigate some of the negative consequences of the current situation. For example, we can lower tuition costs if part of the teaching takes place online. Moocs also started the very important conversations on education and its role in our lives. We should definitely set new standards for judging the efficiency and ways of education if we want sustainable solutions to the issues faced at the moment. Right now, I can only recommend you to go and try the Moocs for yourself. Take courses that you could never take in your school. Explore areas that may not look the best on your CV, but that you feel nevertheless attracted to. Browse around Coursera or on edX, because this is your one-way ticket to a lifelong learning experience. And while you are at the browsing, also check out those 2 links. The very first TED Talk about the Moocs, and also moocs.com, which is a site collecting all the newest info on the Moocs.